Hello guys, so today we are going to talk about vulnerability and assessment. So I'm going to talk about what is vulnerability assessment, the types of vulnerability assessment, versus penetration testing. So vulnerability assessment is the process of defining, identifying, classifying, and prioritizing vulnerabilities in the computer system, applications, and network infrastructures. The vulnerability assessment also provide an organization with the necessary knowledge, awareness, and risks to understand to understand the threats in the environment. So let's take a scenario where an e-commerce company, for example, now sells products online. So this company will have to create a website where customers can create their accounts, browse about the product that they want to buy, add items to their shopping carts, and make purchases. And also, the website will have to contain some sensitive information, which is the customers' names, the addresses, the credit card details, and some other vital information. So, the company will conduct a vulnerability assessment to identify the potential risks in the application. So basically, what there are some steps which the company is going to undergo for them to do an assessment on the website, which I'm going to explain briefly. So we have the scoping, the preparation and scoping. So this is usually the first step and is used to define the scope of the assessment, including the system, the application, and the networks that are going to be tested. So we have the information gathering. So basically, the organization or the team, the security team, are going to collect information about the web application, its architecture, the technology used, and any other vital information that they need for the scan. Then they're going to do a manual test. They're going to do analysis and prioritizing. Then they're going to do reports. They are going to give reports of the scan that the analysis that has been done so far during their assessment. So they are going to do remediation. Remediation is they will take reports and works of addressing the identified vulnerabilities. So it just like after they found out the vulnerability, so they are going to take a concrete report and give it to the company and said, yes, this is what we found, and this is what your IT team needs to fix in order for that particular website to be more secured from any threat attack. So they are going to do a verification and a follow-up. So after they've done their remediation, they have given their reports and everything. So that security team will now ensure that they do a proper follow-up on that particular application or the e-commerce application to ensure that the security is tight from any threat attack on the e-commerce. So we have types of vulnerability assessments. So we have the network-based scans, we have the host-based scans, we have the wireless network scans, we have the application scans, we have the database scan. Now, the when we talk about the network-based scan is usually used to identify the possible network security attacks. Then the host-based scan is used to locate and identify the vulnerabilities in the servers, the workstations, and any other network host. This scan usually examines the ports and the services that may be running on that particular host. So basically, it's just like, okay, when they want to do a host scan now on the e-commerce, so they'll have to check, they'll have to use the host. Let's say, for example, I want to use an e-commerce site, let's say www.abc.com. So that will be the host that they are going to check. They are going to scan to check the ports that are there, the services that that particular host is running on. So we have the wireless base scan, the wireless network scan. It involves identifying, analyzing wireless network, their devices, their configuration, how that particular host was configured, and any potential vulnerabilities that is going to occur. Then we have the application scan. The application scan, these are tests. These tests a website to detect if there are any known software vulnerabilities and incorrect configuration in a network or a web application. It's just more like the scenario I gave earlier on about the application scan. So we have the database scan. Now, the database scan is usually used to identify the weak point in a database to prevent any malicious attack. So just like saying you go and you create a database and that database is not strong, someone can be able to see the users of a particular database. Let's say they can be able to see the users of the e-commerce being created now, which is not supposed to be. So the database can we ensure that they identify those weak points on the database to prevent it from a malicious attack like an SQL injection attack. So to move on to the differences between vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So a vulnerability assessment is meant for a non-critical system, while a penetration testing is meant for a critical real system, just like the scenario I gave. So it's a vulnerability assessment is a comprehensive analysis and a true review of a target system and its environment. Then a penetration testing is a non-intrusive documentation and environment review and analysis. So it it allocates a vulnerability assessment allocates quantifiable value and significance to the available resources. While a penetration testing, it gathers targeted information which are to be inspected on the system. Then a vulnerability assessment, it makes a directory of assets and resources in a given system, while a penetration testing determines the scope of an attack. Thank you, and see you in our next class.